Tonight, we unlock forbidden gates and whisper lost names as we journey through the 10 most haunted cemetery in Philippines. In these shadowed grounds, restless souls drift beneath moonlit skies, and every mossy stone hides an untold secret. Dare to watch as we unravel chilling legends, eerie encounters, and the lingering spirits trapped between worlds. Will you make it to the final grave? 1. Manila North Cemetery, Manila, Metro Manila. They say the city never sleeps, but when night falls upon the Manila North Cemetery, a deeper darkness settles, one that the living rarely dare to challenge. As the bustle of the metropolis gives way to the soft, distant drone of traffic, a spectral chill seizes the winding alleys of this sprawling, century-old necropolis. Shadows cling to the ornate mausoleums, and faint whispers ride the night air, echoing with the sadness of those trapped between worlds. Locals talk of misty forms drifting between candlelit graves, their hollow eyes fixated on mourners and strangers alike. Caretakers speak in hushed voices of processions at the witching hour. Silent lines of figures, faces pale and indistinct, gliding in mournful ceremony beneath the flickering street lamps. Many believe these are the lingering spirits of war victims, families torn apart long ago, but unable to leave the only home they've ever known. When the gates close, visitors sometimes glimpse a figure beckoning from the shadows, or feel a cold hand brush their spine. The cemetery becomes a realm suspended between memory and night terror, daring the brave, or the foolhardy, to discover what secrets linger after the final tomb is sealed. 2. La Loma Catholic Cemetery, Caloocan, Metro Manila. Beneath the tangled branches and looming statues of La Loma Catholic Cemetery, a heavy curtain of uneasy silence settles when the last rays of sunlight slip away. Founded in the twilight of the 19th century, this hallowed ground has never let go of its dead quietly. Old keepers talk in whispers of the hooded specters that glide soundlessly among the cracked marble, their ghostly habits barely rustling against the sepulchral air. Sometimes, mourners departing at dusk have glimpsed eerie blue orbs bobbing between tombstones, weaving patterns too deliberate for the living. Most chilling are the tales of the headless monks. They are said to drift along forgotten paths, their forms cloaked and ethereal, moving as if still at prayer, yet their faces lost to darkness. Now and then, a mournful wail floats from the deeper crypts, so raw and plaintive that even the bravest visitor quickens their step. The old iron gates groan on their hinges, as if warning the living to hurry away before something unearthly steps from the shadows to join them. Here at La Loma, every chill in the spine and every flicker in the night may be the start of another ghostly encounter. 3. Libingan ng mga Bayani, Taguig, Metro Manila. There is a hush that falls over Libingan ng mga Bayani after sundown, a silence so deep it feels almost sacred, yet charged with unseen presence. This is more than a hero's resting place. It is a battlefield beyond the reach of time, where the valiant dead do not always sleep. Visitors tell stories of mysterious shadows flitting between marble crosses, the shape of soldiers standing stiffly at attention, their faces lost to darkness. Some say they vanish as suddenly as they appear, dissolving into the dim pathways with a whisper of rustling leaves or the faintest metallic clink, like metals brushing against a uniform. On windless nights, footsteps echo faintly behind those who pass, heavy and deliberate, yet when one turns, not a soul stands in the misty lane. Caretakers have heard voices, urgent, hushed, speaking in a mixture of languages long since faded from living memory. The air, always crisp, sometimes turns icy, as if unseen sentinels march past, still determined to defend the honor of the flag. In this cemetery, legends insist that heroism never dies, and that every so often, the past marches forth, reminding the living that true valor leaves more than a name etched in stone. 4. Chinese Cemetery, Manila, Metro Manila. Beneath Manila's restless skyline lies the Chinese Cemetery, a city of the dead rivaling the living in grandeur and secrets. Its labyrinthine lanes wind between mausoleums that rise like haunted mansions, some opulent enough to house a dynasty, others heavy with silent grief. The evening air sighs through open gates, carrying whispers in foreign tongues and the uneasy rustling of unseen footsteps. Locals and night guards swear to chilling sights. Shadowy processions gliding past jade lions, luminous figures drifting in and out of eerily lit ancestral halls. The restless, those denied proper rights or torn too soon from this world, are said to roam between marble altars and spider-webbed balconies, searching for peace that eludes them. The sharp scent of incense sometimes materializes with no living soul around, and mourners report their candles flickering wildly, as if disturbed by invisible hands. In the dead of night, clangs echo from locked family rooms, and cryptic chanting weaves through the sepulchral streets. There, where extravagance cannot shield against sorrow, nor tradition guarantee rest, a heaviness settles, warning every trespasser that the stories of wandering spirits are more than superstition. Step inside, and you may find yourself joining a spectral parade that never ends. 5. Nagcarlan Underground Cemetery, Nagcarlan Laguna. Beneath a sleepy curve of the Laguna countryside, the silent stones of Nagcarlan Underground Cemetery mark an entrance, not just to memories, but to mysteries unsolved. By day, golden light brushes against moss-framed arches, but as daylight fades, strange chills weave their way through the ancient brick corridors, and with them, the air thickens with secrets. Built in 1845 by Spanish friars, the cemetery's storied crypt, cut deep into the earth, harbors more than mere bones. It is a keeper of restless spirits, revolutionaries lost to betrayal, and priests with prayers forever unfinished. Locals tell of cold breaths that brush the nape of the neck, of candles flickering violently in windless tunnels, and of distant whispers echoing in forbidden passages said to be portals for the disquieted dead. Some nights, fleeting shadows twist behind columns, only to melt back into the darkness as footsteps approach. Once, servants claimed to see spectral robed figures kneeling in devotion in the candlelit gloom, faces shrouded and unknowable. The underground crypt becomes a labyrinth of secrets when the world above sleeps. Will you descend the time-worn stairs and listen as the walls murmur their confessions? Or will you flee before a ghostly hand reaches from the shadows to lead you further in? 6. San Joaquin Cemetery, San Joaquin, Iloilo. High above the rice fields and rumbling town, San Joaquin Cemetery broods on its hillside perch, a silent sentinel to centuries of sorrow. The Spanish-era mortuary chapel looms at its center, shadows clinging tightly to weathered stones, pale in the faint light of dusk. Locals speak in hushed tones of the mourning figures that wander the cobbled paths as the sun dies, their forms insubstantial and cloaked in grief. Sometimes, visitors are halted mid-step by an unnatural chill, their breath frosting in the humid air, the feeling of invisible ice-cold tears slipping down their cheeks. Far from comforting, these apparitions are said to weep for lives interrupted, crying beside crumbling tombs or leaning against the mossy balustrades. Lanterns flicker to life with no living hand to guide them, and strange orb-like lights float silently between the crooked graves, leading the brave or foolish deeper into the cemetery's heart. Those who dare to linger too long swear they hear a woman's soft lament echoing through the stone arches, while unseen hands brush past their arms. At San Joaquin Cemetery, twilight never brings rest. It only heralds the hour when the tormented dead slip from the shadows and invite the living to mourn with them. 7. Paco, Park Cemetery, Manila, Metro Manila. Beneath the poised elegance of Paco Park's circular stone walls, a sepulchral silence lingers as dusk falls. Once the final refuge for souls claimed by cholera's cruel hand, this former cemetery is a masquerade of serenity, where century-old niches blush green beneath curling tendrils of moss. But when the sun's last embers burn out and the garden's echoing paths empty, another presence stirs, neither fully alive nor at rest. Locals have long whispered of cold, invisible fingers tracing along the inner walls, and of a humid, breathless chill that creeps along the damp stones as night deepens. Some say you can sense unseen eyes tracking your every step, as if the past's sorrowful dead still long for companionship among the tangled shadows. Faint footfalls seem to pace just behind lone wanderers, and tales persist of ghostly figures, fleeting, pale and silent, gliding through arched colonnades just out of sight. Sometimes there are sudden bursts of whispering laughter, or a soft sob carried on a night breeze, echoing from burial niches where candles once flickered in vigil. In Paco Park's perfumed gloom, romance and ruin entwine, and the restless buried may be closer than anyone dares imagine. 8. San Juan Cemetery, San Juan, Metro Manila. Step lightly beyond the rusted gates of San Juan Cemetery, where every stone seems to shudder with secrets only the moon dares to uncover. The pathway is old, worn smooth by generations of mourners, yet at twilight, it becomes a corridor between worlds. Here, the sodden air is never quite silent. It shivers with the memory of black-clad figures glimpsed in the corners, vanishing where grave and fog converge. Locals whisper of the White Lady, her veil tattered, her pale face glimpsed gliding without a sound atop crumbled tombs. Old caretakers clutch their rosaries, remembering marble-cold fingers brushing past their necks during misty evenings, the chill lingering long after the encounter. Iron lanterns flicker against the persistent darkness, and shadows stretch, forming shapes whose eyes seem to glow with age-old sorrow. Sometimes, mourners sense something trailing just behind, a breath on the nape, the rustle of invisible garments. Some say not even the crows dare linger after midnight, perhaps knowing this place is no longer solely for the dead. Take one step further, and you might find you're not walking alone. Here in San Juan Cemetery, nightfall offers passage to both grief and the unknown. 9. San Agustin Church Crypt, Intramuros, Manila. Silent and sacred, the ancient stones of San Agustin Church conceal more secrets than they reveal. Deep beneath the hallowed nave, a labyrinthine crypt waits, its narrow corridors lined with the ornately carved tombs of priests, governors, and forgotten souls. Visitors who descend the echoing stairs describe the instant chill, an uncanny coldness sharper than any above. The feeble light flickers on centuries-old bones, and every footstep resounds as a hollow, uneasy thump. Whispers haunt the air, a snatch of Latin prayer, a breathy sigh, the almost imperceptible shuffling of unseen feet. Many have sworn they felt invisible gazes upon them, or caught the flutter of black robes passing through the rounded doorways. The oldest caretakers tell of nights when the crypt seems to come alive, dusty air swirling as ghostly figures drift through the gloom, searching for long-lost absolution. When midnight strikes, the heavy silence is sometimes broken by the tolling of a phantom bell, impossibly echoing beneath the earth. Some say the spirits trapped here are restless, bound not by wrath, but by unfinished devotion, their hopes and regrets lingering in every shadowed corner. Those who enter after dark rarely linger, for the crypt is less a tomb and more a haunted threshold between worlds. 10. Bagac Catholic Cemetery, Bagac, Bataan. At the edge of a quiet coastal village, the Bagac Catholic Cemetery endures the slow gnaw of time and salt-laden winds. Here, mossy gravestones lean beneath gnarled trees, each monument seeming to whisper secrets best left undisturbed. Locals tread lightly past the crumbling archway, for at twilight, this burial ground stirs with hushed lamentations, a chorus of voices from the wartime dead. Shadows lengthen as the sun dips beyond the South China Sea, and a heavy mist creeps across the graves, billowing like shrouds. It is then that those brave, or foolish, enough to linger, have reported ethereal shapes rising from their graves, trailing toward the water's edge in eerie silence. Sometimes it begins as a distant, melancholy singing, a lullaby woven with grief, echoing from nowhere and everywhere at once. It pulses through the wind, luring curious souls to the cliffs, where vaporous apparitions are rumored to drift seaward, vanishing where the waves meet the sky. Even in daylight, a chill clings to the land, the sorrow of countless uprooted lives still palpable. Some say the spirits of the lost will not rest until their stories are told, or until dawn dispels the ghosts that forever haunt Bagac's lonely shore. As night deepens and shadows stretch across forgotten graves, remember, the restless souls of these cemeteries may be closer than you think. If you dare, like, comment, and subscribe for more chilling tales. And when the lights go out tonight, listen carefully. Something might already be watching you from the darkness.